It's another episode of Poker Time. This is the second episode of this session, playing 5-10, and there's been a whole lot of straddles on the button. So we're mostly playing 5-10-20. Got some newer players. Already seen some interesting action.
Yeah, Danny bluffed Stewart in a big pot.
Oh, yeah.
All in for more than pot on the river.
That was cool with middle pair, and it worked.
The D train's in the house, but what's his nickname? What's Danny's nickname?
The dynamic.
The dynamic is also in the house.
Sydney's going to call with the king five of spades. Everybody's in. Three-way action. Danny with the worst position, but the best hand. Still worst position, still best hand.
Gut shot for Sydney.
Yep.
Kind of an interesting spot to lead if Danny doesn't bet, but Danny's going to take the shot.
Danny's just going to rep that over pair.
I think Sydney has to call.
Sydney does have D-Train behind him and no spade on the board, but he is going to put some chips in.
King high could also be good against Danny.
Is that a race?
It looks like a
Yep.
raise, yeah.
It is a race. He's blocking the nuts. He certainly could have 4-5.
Maybe that's better than a call.
I think it is without a spade on there especially.
Yep. It works out great.
Nice play by Sydney. Danny can really only continue with the overpairs, and Danny certainly doesn't have to have overpairs, as we know. That's Nitrogen Sports. That is no longer the sponsor. As you see up in the upper left there, it's Nitro Betting. They've just transformed themselves into Nitro Betting.
Don't look at the felt.
Look with your eyes.
Yeah,
not with your heart.
Don't you dare look at the felt. I see you looking at the felt.
What color is the sound of rage? You know?
What color is the sound of rage?
Sydney's going to raise to 50.
I mean, obviously it's orange, right?
Yeah. So there's a straddle on the button. Sydney actually interesting sizing here with keeping it 2.5x, even out of position.
D-Train's going to come along with a speculative hand, and Danny just has to dump the 9-3. Even Danny dumps the 9-3.
And it's a nice flop for D-Train.
Yeah, 2 back doors for Sydney. I imagine we'll see it continue.
Yep. Also, this is kind of an orphan flop. D-Train's often going to miss this board. Here is the continue. Let's see how fast D-Train calls. Takes a little bit of time.
It was pretty fast.
Pretty darn fast, but he called even faster last session.
Ooh.
Oh, top 2.
Doesn't really change much against Sydney's range. Only against
Correct.
pocket 7s does it change anything.
Yep, or like a better 6, like ace 6.
Yeah.
Since Sydney has ace 5, it's Sydney
That's the only better 6 he has, though.
decides to let it go. Sydney trying to encourage more straddling. We're all for that.
Yeah. Thanks, Sydney. Thank you for that, and also for that wonderful music you put out in the late 90s with your brother.
Sydney could actually be one of the Beatles there. It looks a little bit like George Harrison from this angle.
Maybe it's
Young
like
George Harrison.
it's like that thing where it's like some people are immortal. So there's just this
Yeah.
musician. There's this musician who's immortal, and he's been George Harrison. He's been one of the Gallaghers from Oasis.
Yeah, it's like Kenneth from 30 Rock or the Eternals from the Eternals.
The Eternals from the Eternals. Yeah.
T-Train is going to raise it up. There's the ace-jack diamonds.
He's like Kumail Nanjiani is what he's like.
Exactly. That's who I was thinking of from that movie.
That movie was not very good.
No, but he was good in it, and that was the only good part, really, of the whole
Yeah.
movie, really. I mean, it was pretty, but anyway. It was disappointing.
Alex is going to see a flop out of that small blind, which he limped out of.
Yep.
We had a lot of discussion
He
about
likes
that
to
on
limp,
the
though.
last episode.
Big limper.
Big limper, and including out of the small blind in the straddled pots.
Yep.
Very nice flop with the ace-jack.
Alex likes to see a lot of flops, man.
Yeah.
I think he's ahead for the session.
Sure.
So, how dare you question anyone's strategy?
That's a good point.
We like winners here on Poker Time, okay? Grant, we don't like smart guys.
We don't like smart guys. You know what happens to smart guys around here?
Exactly. Exactly. All right, no straddle this time. So Sydney was trying to get everyone to straddle the button, but...
You know who you're talking to, college boy? Stuff like that is what we say.
Exactly. D-Train with jacks. It's the best hand he's had so far.
A couple nice hands in a row for
Is he
D-Train.
limping?
He limped jacks last time, actually.
Oh, he did?
He had jacks before,
Oh, okay.
and he limped.
He did it again.
He likes to limp jacks.
Interesting. He raised the ace-jack suited, but it limps the jacks.
It's kind of the opposite of how a lot of players perceive jacks. They want to make it like 8x because they just don't want to play them.
Yep. Stu Younger with a range advantage type of board and also a gutter to the nuts.
He's going to lead. Makes sense.
No, he's calling it.
Oh, he
$20
calls. I
bet.
see. Good card for D-Train and bad card for D-Train.
D-Train bets again and then pounds the table as if he's angry that Stuart folded. I guess once Stuart folds, you did have the best hand.
Yeah.
But probably very happy he got the fold.
He had the spades going. That could have been okay.
Were there 3 spades on the board?
There were 3 spades. That's why I said good card for D-Train and bad card for D-Train.
How about that?
We're going to rename this show, How Good Is That Card for D-Train?
And I'm going to not know the answer at any time. Sounds good to me. Here's D-Train once again.
Yeah, he's still in the same seat, and you don't have to say once again. Does he have
Gonna
jacks
limp.
again?
He's limping again.
No, he's got 10s.
Oh, my gosh.
So he limps pair. I wonder if he limps all pairs or just like the medium to high pairs.
Yeah. Like, is he really limping queens and kings? I doubt it. Maybe we'll find out.
I hope we get to find out.
Yeah, me too.
Stuart is not having it.
Oh, well.
And the D-Train is going to run you over, buddy.
With a call.
With the call. I mean, it makes sense to call.
Yeah, it's fine to call. Quick call. Alex, I expect to come on. No.
I mean, it is a 10x raise.
It is a pretty big raise. That's true.
That's another reason why the call is good. You're going to isolate anyway a lot of the time.
There's a wow. Look at this
what
flop.
A flop. Oh, my goodness.
Stuart checks.
He's going for the check raise.
He has to be. Let's see the sizing here for D-Train. 200 into 230. That's pretty big.
And he bet quickly. As D-Train, you shouldn't be too afraid of a straight. You wouldn't expect Stuart to show up with Jack 9 too often.
You don't care anyway.
He could have a set of queens once he check raises.
Whatever. It doesn't matter.
He could also have Ace King of clubs.
You're going with it no matter what.
You don't put him on King 9 of clubs, but
No.
that's the type of hand that you would expect to check raise if you put all hands in his range.
Ace Jack of clubs, Ace Queen of clubs, or Ace King of clubs, Queen 10 maybe sometimes, a Queen 10 suited perhaps. Although there aren't too many of those because we have 3 10s covered here.
Is there any reason to call now instead of raise?
I don't imagine why you do anything but raise here if you're Stuart. You want to see all 5 cards.
He's worried about not having fold equity when D-Train bets so big.
He bet big and he bet fast, but he goes all in. I like the play. You don't want to have to check fold the turn with this.
D-Train
hand.
makes the call. When you get called quickly, you're not like doing amazing against the range.
You know your king isn't good when you get called that
Ooh,
fast.
he gets there though. He hits the club on the end.
Yeah.
That hurts.
Yeah, it's too bad, D-Train.
At least our dealer, John Gamble, he ripped the Band-Aid off real fast there.
He does do that, but that deuce of clubs on the river. There was some chop outs with actually a jack would have still was already a win, but it remained a win.
And that gets Stuart in the green, and it really brings D-Train down into the red.
Man, D-Train was this close to being up a nice chunk.
That's really disappointing when you're the guy who had the set. It really sucks every time.
Yep.
No matter how long you play poker for, that still sucks.
Yep. The good news is they weren't a lot deeper. They could have gotten it all in anyway had they been deeper with these hands. I assume.
You like the way Stuart played it post-flop?
I think it's fine, yeah. I like going for the check raise, even though D-Train bet big and fast. Like, he could have queens that he folds there, top pair type hands for sure. Maybe even like king-jack type hands that are just open-enders.
Yep.
That he's folding. He could have worse clubs and bet. It's a little unclear. And when you're going for the check raise, if you're going to make it 600 and he's only got 1,200 back, just shoving seems fine to me. It looks a little bluffy, admittedly, but as long as we're doing that also with big value, I think it's fine. And with those kind of stack pot ratios.
Yeah,
I imagine Stuart is.
I like how he played it.
Me too. And he's supposed to win a bunch of the time. They're just not most of the time.
Yeah, he's probably going to win what?
I would guess he had like 35%.
35 to 38, something in there.
Something like that. Maybe a little less because the board pairing piece. But
yeah, he does have
something like that.
The straight flush draw that could come in.
Anyway, Stuart is going to. Is that limp?
No, he raised.
Okay, that makes more sense. He's going to punish Alex for the limp. Alex is dominated, much the way Macho Man Randy Savage was against Jimmy Superfly Snuka that time.
Yep. Took the words right out of my mouth.
Stuart gonna continue. Alex really doesn't have to fold on this board with his hand.
No, you could definitely call with the 2 back doors and the 2 overs.
Yep, he does. I like that. Figure Stuart's gonna have a lot. Ooh, just made the best hand. That's the easy way to do it.
Congratulations. Yeah,
Stuart could bet to try and get 2 5s to fold. That would be the one thing. And he just gives up right away.
Now that we got everything running.
Not unreasonable.
I mean, that king is a pretty good card to try and get 2 5s to fold with, though. Like when Alex checks again,
it is.
He usually only has 1 pair.
Probably wasn't going to work against that hand, but
probably not.
Against the under pairs to the 8s, I do agree.
You'd think you're up against a lot more of those than a jack.
Well, that worked.
I mean, you block Jack 9, you have Ace 9, bro.
We've gotten past that.
That was sarcasm.
Sarcasm.
Yep.
On this show,
I am shocked.
I don't think it's allowed.
It's like 12 hours worth of shit.
Kind of like check raising. How did Stuart get away with that? By the way, don't we have a rule against
Did
check
someone
raising?
call the floor? K6 is gonna open this one up with Ace King to $50.
And
Oh, and it's all of D Train's money.
D Train is not
So-
rebought. He's just sitting on his $35, drinking his drink and feeling sad.
Yep. He's gonna try and run it up. This would be impressive to run it really to anything when you're this short.
It can happen.
Oh, I've run $15 up in a 1-2 game back in the day, like in 2004. I ran it up. I got stacked down to 15. Actually, stacked down to 0, and a guy threw me $15 because he felt bad for some reason, and I ran it up to like a big chunk.
Oh yeah.
I did not pay him back.
Like what kind of a chunk?
Oh, I don't know. It wasn't that good. It was
You
like
should-
$500.
You should have paid him
$600.
back.
No, I know he didn't want it. He said he didn't want it, and I was like, "Oh, okay." But I should have given to him. I should have given him with interest. Although I did get stacked not much long later with set against set. So.
Oh well, then it's his fault.
Exactly. What was he thinking?
He caused you pain,
It wasn't him who stacked me.
but his money.
I remember who stacked me. It was Pat.
What a jerk.
Fucking Pat.
All right.
Anyway, top pair for K6. That's about it.
Along with the backdoor not flush draw.
The bathroom with you.
That's true. And other backdoor straight draws, my friend, including the backdoor steel wheel draw. There's so much here. And Stewart is going to bet 55. This
Well,
is not going to work.
Equity denial.
Yep.
Looks like a raise.
Huh. That's going to end it right away. I mean, Ace King is rates to be the best hand there,
I mean,
pretty
I don't-
much always.
I don't hate raising that hand there.
Yep. It's a wet board. Stewart decided to bet it 3 ways. He could really get action from worse hands.
Yeah.
Stewart folded the 2 4s at a supersonic speed.
We've seen him be sticky against Danny when he had the king 9 on a king high board.
That's right.
Now he might play differently against K6. Danny is, the dynamic.
Indeed he is.
He will check raise as a bluff a lot more likely than most players.
Agreed. Danny straddling the button here. And it's going to fold to K6, who is going to throw some chips in there.
Is that a limp? It looks like
It's
it
a
is
limp.
a limp. Is this the one? It's not the one for D Train.
What did D-Train fold?
Queen 5.
Yeah,
Makes
probably
sense.
not the one. Ace, Queen, 7, 2 diamonds.
1 spade. And K6 is going to take that spade and say, that's my hand.
Sure.
I win.
Good job. Bruh.
Sydney asking for a round of straddles again. I think he's going to probably ask for it every time. It's
Sure.
his button.
Cindy wants to play as big as possible, it seems.
I mean, he's got all that music money
Yeah.
from being
It's
in
like every
Oasis.
time someone listens to Spotify, I make another 0.2 cents here,
Yep.
man. Like, let's go.
How did I write While My Guitar Gently Weeps and Wonderwall? How am I that good?
I mean, if you were in the Beatles, you probably were part of writing a lot of really great classic songs.
Yeah.
Better than Wonderwall.
Whoa.
That's right.
Don't say that, man. Nothing's better than Wonderwall.
Come on, man. Champagne Supernova. So Alex is now straddling the button, though. So that's new.
Oh, yeah. I guess maybe Sydney did convince the table. Or at least a few of them.
What's interesting is we have D-Train in here with like $35. Maybe he's not going to straddle.
I think
seem
that would be
strange.
fair if he didn't.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would hold that against him.
You might have more than $35 looking at his stack. I think there's
Yeah.
a green one there. It might be something like 75.
Let's take a look. Let me get to him here. K6 going to play the ace 3. D-Train with 100. Oh, he bought another $50 worth of chips is what I'm being
Huh.
told. So he bought himself up to 100.
Well, now he's got a real stack to play with.
Yeah. Now he can straddle the button. There's 5 straddles. You can go three orbits here. Top pair for K6,
Now both players with a gut shot.
and it's over.
Is that long? You don't get it in a half hour?
You got to pay me a lot of money.
I guess we probably are going to have a full round of straddles.
Looks like it.
You think anybody's going to drink from that bottle of Coke behind Stuart there? What's your over-under on how long before somebody drinks from the bottle of Coke?
17 minutes.
That's pretty sick, bro, because that's what I was going to say.
What?
Yeah.
Hey, D-Train's going to limp 2 sevens
So
here.
he limps
with
all pairs.
$80 back.
So far, we've seen him limp all pairs, and I guess he limps all pairs in all situations.
This is confusing. It feels like a shove really isn't really called for here. Joseph with ace 4 off is going to raise, even though D-Train only has $80 back.
Well, D-Train can't get it in fast
Yeah.
enough.
Now it looks like he's got kings the way he did that. Joseph put in at least a really big raise. I'll give him that. That seems fine.
Which is nice for D-Train, by the way, because it isolates.
Danny loves his hand, though. Is he really going to fold?
He called.
That's
He
right.
already called.
That's for sure. Well,
So we're gonna have a side pot here. We're gonna have $100 in the side pot, or
175.
175 in the side pot. All right.
And that's still good for D-Train. A 4 would kill him. 4, Jack, 10, or ace. Or running kings.
Probably worth protecting your equity against Danny as Joseph. I know it's not a fully dry side pot. There's still something to win.
Yeah, for sure. I think a bet makes sense.
So Joseph will take the side pot. He will need to improve to beat
That's a
D-Train.
miss. A 4 or an ace is all he's got. That's a miss. So D-Train,
That's a nice. Okay, maybe the D-Train is chugging along now.
I mean, I think I can. You know what I'm saying?
We could be seeing the birth of a star.
The little D-Train that could.
They have to remake A Star Is Born Again, and this is how it starts.
And it's called The Birth of a Star.
D-Train.
Up to 335, though. He did put some extra cash in there, too, so it's really from 100.
Yeah.
But still, just the one hand. But one more of those, and hello, Dolly.
A Star Is Born, the birth of a star, D-Train.
I would see that move.
Yeah.
Good raise. You had 8 weeks. Whatever.
D-Train's going to... Well, I guess he has enough chips now. He can limp a little bit more.
Yeah.
I don't know what he has.
We don't know what anybody has, which is exactly how I like it.
Well, we know what Stewart has.
Okay, we know what Stewart has. He has a queen. Did D-Train just go all in? No, he checked. Stewart's probably good here. It's my best guess. So now he plays the board. They're probably going to chop this one.
I mean, it'd be shocking if they do not. Wow.
Oh, D-Train had a pair.
D-Train really protecting that stack.
He limps all pairs in all situations.
Well, he's limped everything Jackson below so
Yep.
far, right?
Well, everything he's gotten, yes.
Right. Everything Jackson below, that's a pair. He's limped.
That he's had the opportunity to limp.
Right.
He hasn't
All of
limped
them.
sixes because he hasn't had sixes.
Everything he's gotten, that's a Jackson below. He's limped.
Oh, my God.
Okay, well, we have some real issues right now with the graphics, but let's not worry about that. Let's focus on the things that make people happy.
Okay.
For example,
what about the idea of Stewart crawling across the bottom of the screen
Instead of the word poker
instead
time.
of poker time?
what if you were on like a sandwich board that said poker time and he was crawling across the bottom of the screen?
Yeah,
that
that's
sounds
good.
pretty great.
Yeah.
I'm in for that.
And he'd have to smile the whole time, like
Yeah, yeah.
like a salesy type smile.
Or he could be like crying and like really like
oh yeah, no, I think you do both, and you kind of loop them in
Mm.
back and forth.
That's smart.
Yeah,
That's really smart.
yeah.
All right, here we go. D-Train's folded. And Danny's got the pretty suited connector, and Danny's not one to limp from here.
That hand is just gone.
No,
It's
sir.
Danny. He doesn't limp. He doesn't mess around with that stuff.
All that's left is K6, and he's not going to defend his straddle, and onward we go.
He really could have. They're deep, and that hand is connected, and he has position. And
I
if he
think I
hits
would've-
something, Danny's gonna fire away.
Yep. I think that should probably be a call, but, so be it, man.
Yep.
Different strokes,
Yeah, I think 4-6 off is probably a fold, but 5-6 off, I think you can call.
It certainly can't be that big a mistake to throw it away, though.
No, I agree.
So it can't be that bad. Danny going to play the 5-4 off now and going to raise again. Danny's
Okay,
like,
he's feeling his oats now.
time to run over the table.
It's Danny Rampage time. Get a graphic for that. We need a Danny Rampage graphic
Okay.
with noise.
Sure, we can do that.
Yeah.
Joseph with the ace-king suited. There's the 3-bet to 225.
Tilda Swinton is the intern, so she should be able to figure out the graphic thing.
Historically, Danny's actually called in these spots. I feel like he's tightened up a little bit.
He's
but
calling.
There it is.
All right, this is the Danny we love.
It's true.
What
Alex
is
gets to
Alex going to do now?
close the action if he wants, but there are stacked to pot issues with this kind of a hand that's a trouble hand for sure. As we see, an ace is a problem. He is going to make the call. It's not crazy.
He can make a flush.
Yep.
Joseph doesn't love getting called in 2 spots, probably. And Danny flops best. Of course. That's the way life goes.
But will he be able to hold on if Joseph puts pressure on?
Will you put pressure on
I
three
don't know.
ways
You
here?
got overs. You got the backdoor spades. A lot of people miss this.
Yeah.
I don't hate a bet at all. I think I like a bet.
Equity denial. You're not going to ever fold out a better hand. But
Nope, you're not trying to. You're just trying to fold out the Jack 10 suiteds of the world, stuff like that.
Danny, of course, can't go anywhere at this point.
There's the call.
Alex will fold. There he goes.
Now you're really hoping for something that helps you, unlike that card.
Yeah, and that actually improves Danny's equity against overpairs.
Also, the hands that Danny calls with that aren't a pair on the flop improve on the turn with the 7 most of the time, right? Like 7-6, 5-6,
Yep.
7-5.
Yeah, the open ender coming in is not ideal for
Nope.
Joseph.
Joseph's going to fire again, though. I guess he's putting Danny on a hand like a 4 or just a pocket pair.
I could see Danny turning this hand into a bluff.
Yep.
Blocks full houses. He blocks.
Look at this.
He
though.
blocks the nut straight.
Danny's just going to make the call thinking he's ahead, and he's right. Look at this.
We've seen him hero before on Poker Time.
Oh.
Ooh, Joseph gets there in the biggest possible way.
Will Joseph go for value on the river? Danny, you really rate to have the best hand here when Danny goes check, call, check, call.
Yeah, you're
check.
putting him on something like 8s or 9s, right? Most of the time.
Joseph has less than a pot back. You could just ship it here.
And
Hard
Danny,
to get called by a 4 or a 5 or pocket 5.
but you really put him on something bigger usually, right? When he called pre-flop.
like pocket 9s.
Yeah,
or
8s or
something, yeah.
9s, 10s maybe.
I mean, if you had ace queen, you might play it just like this. He's going to bet
He's
for
going
value
for a
instead.
smaller bet here.
I think it's $80. I think he bet 80 into 2,000. He
Yeah.
bet 85. Yeah, super small.
Huh.
Wow.
I wonder if he was trying to induce.
Yeah, maybe he was. And he definitely got called kind of instantly there by a hand that is kind of never good.
We're back, having just played a pretty fascinating pot.
Yeah, that was a really unusual river bet there. Danny now the big loser, Joseph the big winner. That was
Well, Joseph may have played with Danny or may have studied him on Poker Time and was hoping for some sort of a response to that sizing, thinking
Maybe.
like I'm more likely to get all of the value by getting Danny to do something than by shoving myself.
right. When you shove, it looks like you have aces, kings,
Ace King.
ace, king, other big hands.
The question is, do you ever bluff for 85?
Alex just completed with queen 3 off in the
Oof.
straddled pot.
See, this is
What is happening?
This is a continuation of what I was talking about in the last episode, and I was talking about calling out of the small blind with hands that you might not want to. I think Alex is, just being affected by the price. He's already got 10 in there; it's 10 more. So
I
he
think-
thinks he's supposed to continue in the hand.
Also, I think he's just thinking about like he wants to play pots now. Like if you're playing queen 3 off, you just want to play pots. Danny definitely not going anywhere with the open ender.
K6, by the way, limped to the 7-3 suited.
Yep. And that's a miss for everybody.
Alex checks, still the best
Will
hand.
Danny bet? Nope. Everyone takes the free card, and that's it's not the nuts for Danny, but it's effectively the nuts. You figure ace jack we would have probably heard from pre-flop, right? These guys.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Danny can bet very comfortably here. Alex with just top pair and K6 behind him. He's got any calls.
It's not even top pair anymore.
Oh, he's going to get some bad news.
Yep.
He can beat 8-9.
He can.
Would Danny ever turn like a 7 into a bluff? Perhaps.
Danny might turn anything into a
Yep.
bluff. It's
Danny is capable of that.
certainly not too bad to call Danny with that hand.
It makes it tougher. The only problem is K6 is behind you.
Yeah.
That's the reason I think to fold if there's a reason. I think if your head's up, you probably have to call.
Yeah.
And cry about it later. Anyway, it was only $180 at least. Danny actually sized that down pretty dramatically. All right, ace 6 suited.
I imagine we'll see Alex play this.
Yeah.
We do.
This
Yeah,
This makes more sense as
It's
as a complete.
certainly within the realm of reason.
You could also, by the way, limp re-raise this hand sometimes.
And K6 is now limping a lot of hands.
Yes. Danny's gonna. Is he raising it up or is he? Nope. He's just gonna.
He
Limp
looks like
as
he
well.
was a bit snake bitten by that hand with Joseph.
Well, there's another open ender for Danny, and no one else has anything though. Danny checks it,
That's an interesting check.
and
And-
whoa, that's bad for Alex and good for Danny.
Just like last hand.
Yep. K6 with a gutter.
Yeah, but I don't think that's going to be
Nope.
continuing here.
He's out quickly, and there's no card that can come to save Alex except a scary card. That is not a scary card.
At least it's not an ace or a 6.
Let's see how Danny sizes the nuts here against a guy who just bluff catched him. Bluff caught him?
Bluff catch rude.
Looks like he went big. 325 into 190. Now we're talking. Oh, man, this is tough if you're Alex.
It is. When it's Danny, this is the value of being Danny, right? You
Exactly.
can get these bets paid off.
Really tough if you're him. Danny could have ace 3, right? He could have queen 10. Most other things you think that are beating you would have bet the flop. Could Danny just be turning a hand like a queen or a 10 into a bluff? And there is the call. Wow, back-to-back bluff catching against Danny when Danny has the straight. That's
Yeah.
tough.
I guess Alex has a new nemesis.
Yeah, and Danny, they all look the same to him. You know, he's just like everyone's, all my opponents are the same to me. I do not care. I play the way I play.
Yeah.
I do not have nemesi. You
I
know?
am my own nemesis.
Exactly. The guy in the mirror, that's my nemesis.
Yeah.
How hard can I push that guy?
Danny could really, I could see him running up just a monster stack if he goes on a little bit of a hot run with hands,
Yep.
just with the way he plays. And
Can you imagine him like in the main event, like on day 4 with like one of the biggest stacks in the
I
room?
could definitely imagine
him just terrorizing
yeah,
his
I could
table.
definitely imagine that.
And he's the kind of guy who could totally go on like a Jamie Gold like run, you know,
Yep.
where he just has the big stack for the last 4 days and just puts everyone through hell. I can totally picture that. It's more fun to play that way too.
Oh, for sure.
Just most people cannot find.
And
a
that's
way
what
to do it
Danny's doing. He
profitably.
really loves playing. He has a lot of fun doing
Yeah.
it.
But the thing is, most people like struggle to do it profitably. But I think Danny is profitable.
Oh, yeah.
So, and maybe even very profitable, at least in these games that we watch him play. I'd say he's been a pretty darn big winner.
Yeah. And not through luck necessarily in most cases. I mean, he's had good hands sometimes, but he's also done a lot of bluff catching and bluffing.
Oh yeah, we see him do it. We see him all over the rainbow there.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of bluff catching, being the big bluffer, going for sometimes thin value even.
He's like a classic aggro exploit guy who really knows what he's doing with that stuff. And it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. He plays the loose aggressive role pretty well. Pretty darn well. And even with the reputation of being loose aggressive guy, like he got short to fold when he went all in.
Yeah.
I know it was early. And then he got called when he had it both times.
Yeah.
Like that's lucky, of course.
In ways that's lucky, yeah.
Yeah. But so be it.
The dynamic.
I don't know if he's going all in though against Alex either.
He
know,
might
on the
not be,
river.
yeah.
Right. He may be picking that more carefully than we're thinking. Can't play the king deuce though.
Sydney can definitely play the ace queen off.
It's a raise to 25, and Alex is now calling ace 8 off. This feels like tilt.
It does. Although we've seen Alex VPIP pretty heavy.
Right, but usually that's limping, not calling raises.
It's only a $25 raise. Might feel like a limp.
It's really not.
I know. Queen high flop. That's good news for Sydney. The 2 9s are a little scary.
They are. Pretty wet board, too. Sydney is going to, I would think he's going to bet top pair here.
Probably. Oh, he sized down. I would have expected a bit of a bigger size 3 ways with a lot of draws out there.
And K6 is going to call with ace 4 off. Hello.
Wow.
And, bad
That
card for
is
K6.
Very bad news.
Now, Sydney might check this back on the turn. Let's see.
You
He does
do-
have top 2.
You do get to keep charging the draws, though,
Yeah,
when you bet again.
including the nut flush. Oh, no, you got the ace of hearts in your hand, though. He's going to bet this. Thinks it's a little too good. He's really hoping he doesn't get check raised because that starts to suck.
If you get check raised, you have to call probably, but
Yeah,
like
I think you do. I think this is part of the range you call with. And you say, like, well, sometimes I just get coolered here, so be it. Just got to be willing to have that happen.
oh my
Wow.
goodness.
K6 calls the flop bet and folds the turn?
I don't understand why, but he danced between the
That
raindrops.
doesn't
there.
make any sense.
Well, guess what he did? He lost a lot less money that way.
Wow.
How does he do that?
It doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Well, there could have been a physical tell. That is one possibility.
He wasn't even looking, though, at Sydney, was he?
I mean, I'm just trying to think of
Yeah.
why you might.
Maybe
make
when
those-
Sydney bet, maybe just the sizing. He just thought, like, oh, this is
Maybe
going to get a lot bigger by the river.
And he thought ace 4 could be good on the flop, but then when Sydney keeps betting on the turn, it's like even when I pair my ace, I don't feel like it's good often enough.
You figure a lot of aces will check back, a lot of solitary aces.
Yeah.
Maybe not all of them, but a lot of them. Of course, you're losing to all the good ones
Yep.
also. So you're really only beating the heart draw on this and Jack 10, essentially, right?
Yep. K6 with A6, top pair.
He hasn't had K6 yet.
It's really sad.
It is sad. Gut shot now for Alex.
Alex, who bet the flop, bets the turn, hits an 8 on the river. Oh,
But K6 bets and wins.
software thought Alex won the hand, but that's not what happened.
Software gets confused.
Yeah, Tilda Swinton gets confused. She's our intern.
Huh.
She took a break from acting to follow her passion.
Yep.
Interning for Poker Time.
I mean, 3,000 Years of Longing has been a lot. It was like a long project for her with Idris Elba, and she's excited to like finally really follow what her heart and be an intern on
Just
Poker
dig her
Time.
teeth in, Yeah,
She said, I'll never forget that first meeting where she said, I just feel like I have so much to learn from you guys. And I don't mean about poker. I mean about acting and life.
and being around you is teaching me in itself. And D-Train does raise a pair.
All right. It is small blind to big blind, and it's Danny.
And Danny's going to probably give him action. It looks like he's saying something about it.
Danny asking D-Train if he wants to call, and D-Train says he wants to fold.
Danny calls anyway.
Check, check. Check, check. Danny not trying here to steal. Not even trying. Might have worked against tens, but decides not to get cute.
And the D-Train keeps on chugging.
Yeah.
We're on comeback trail.
385 now.
That was before, I think.
Nope.
Oh, it's
Just now it's at 385.
You think Tilda Swinton can sue us for saying all these lies about her?
I mean, we slightly exaggerated her. Think about, I could learn so much.
Right,
from her,
right,
but
right.
I don't think it's a lie. I don't think a court would see it as necessarily.
Right, she is an intern on Poker Time, of course.
And she was grateful for joining. And she
Yeah.
said something like, you guys are my sun and my stars or something like that. But she meant it's a more of a mentor-mentee relationship.
She just started watching Game of Thrones season 1, which is why she said that.
She also does love Momoa. Huge Momoa fan.
How could you not be?
Flop for Danny is monstrous. Monstrous flop for Danny. So big. Turns the best hand. No, he does not. In fact, 2 pair for now for K6. Things could get wacky. And the river is the 8 of hearts. Danny has missed everything. K6 betting for value, and Danny knows he cannot call. Cannot call. That could have been a humongous pot on the turn if Danny played it differently, or K6 played it differently. But it is what it is, obviously.
That's it. That's how I do it. How you do it. I think you're still ahead of the game if you're 2 out of 3.
Probably not. I missed 2 out of 3
So what do you guys think? Guys with hats or guys without hats? We got a lot of guys with hats, but we got some guys without hats. You know what I'm saying? Including, by the way, actually, if you look, Joseph is sort of an amalgamation of Stuart and Alex. Like, he's got the hat of Alex and the shirt of Stuart, and he's sitting between the two. Just happened to notice that. That's interesting. Let's get back to that. Should I see that shot right there? Yep. Even has the clear glasses, where Alex has the sunglasses and Stuart doesn't wear glasses. I mean, this is crazy. They have the same hat. I don't know, man. It's pretty nuts. Alex flops best. So he's going to check this board. This is a board he could have really bet. Interesting. And he turns the best hand. And checks through again. And now 2 pair for Alex. What a great deal. Let's see how much value he can get out of this. Sydney's going to bet for value. I think Alex can reasonably raise here. He does raise. It's $100 more. Now you can only beat a bluff if you're Sydney. Does Alex have bluffs here? That's what you got to be thinking about. Not even what are the bluffs. Does he have bluffs? It's hard to come up with that much value. He could have rivered a straight, I guess. But, you know, the 2 pair of hands like this one, maybe Jack 3, maybe 6-3. These are hands he could be losing to here. It's an interesting spot. And he does let it go. This has got to be near the very bottom of his distribution. It makes sense to fold there. For sure.
Hey, we got one more hand, huh?
We got one more hand, dude. I appreciate you letting me just monologue a little bit there.
Yeah, you know.
Sometimes you got to let the other guy talk, right?
Yep.
And I know there's been a big push from the Poker Time fans saying Jonathan's not talking enough.
Right, right. Of course. They say that all the time.
So it's good that you give the fans what they want, what they really want. There's a raise from K6. Is anyone going to play? Yes. Alex is going to play the 4 deuce of clubs.
He likes to play.
He really does. And he flops a gutter.
Nothing for K6. Now something for K6. It's probably just going to be over.
You would think. It's a fold or raise.
It's a call.
He's going to call. That is an optimistic call. Can't check, though. You got to lead at least. Nope.
Goes check, check, it looks like.
Got the nut low.
K6 is going to take down the last hand of the episode, and we'll see you next time.